Hello, this is Max, and today we're doing another beard log. Now this video is a different video than the other beard log videos because I've noticed that on GirlPaintings videos there's a contest for painting a tactical marine. Now, my last two squads that I have left to finish my battle company are a tactical squad and an assault squad. And I said I was going to be working on the assault squad, but I think I'm going to work on the tactical squad now. So this video is for GirlPaintings contest to show that I am painting models that are not on the shelf and are not finished. I'm finishing them. And I guess in this video I will be talking a little bit about their backstory and history, as that is one of the requirements for the contest. So I will fulfill that requirement and I will talk about the Bloodhounds. So the Bloodhounds were a secret project that was hidden on Terra and only emerged at the very end of the Horus Heresy. They were meant to be the Emperor's watchdogs. They were meant to watch over the other Space Marine legions and report directly to the Emperor of any misdoings or things that they just thought weren't right. And essentially they're not just that, but their successes and things that they're doing good. It was their watchdogs, their bloodhounds. But that never happened because the Horus Heresy broke out and its war ravaged its way all the way to Terra. So the Bloodhounds were released from their cryogenetic manipulation and a bit early and had to escape Terra unseen, as this was a backup plan. Then they lived on the planet Talrak for the longest time, where they were in exile because of their cloned Primarch Arrow, who has the combined genetic qualities of all of the Primarchs, decided that they must live there and die there and never exist. But then a great cataclysm comes to Talrak, and an unknown alien species crash lands on the planet and begins to rip it apart and eat it from the inside, destroying the planet and making the Bloodhounds have to leave. So they learn a new sense of glory and duty, and they need to serve the Emperor now. Essentially, the reasoning behind needing to kill themselves on this planet is gone. So they go around the universe and go to Imperial worlds, and they essentially do what they do to, or what they're meant to do to the Space Marines, where they will watch over them at times, and will, if they judge what their actions are to be unfit, they will come and punish them. This is one of the explanations that I have come up with for why they will be fighting other Imperial armies, as they are not technically part of the Imperium or inside of the Imperium as normal Space Marines. They are outsiders and thus would be, to a point, considered heretics or chaos, but are not. They are loyal to the Emperor. Now, at first, the Bloodhounds were not a chapter, they were a legion. For the longest time they remained a legion, even though there was only 2,500 at most Bloodhounds remaining alive. Now, the reasons that the Bloodhounds were reduced to so many was from the original roughly 10,000 that had originally been cloned, was that in the underground laboratories, half of the tubes that carried the Bloodhound applicants, which were hand-picked by the Emperor during his crusade of trying to find the Primarchs, were crushed by the ceiling. Which came down and ruined most of the lab. Another half of them were killed on the ride up to the surface in an elevator, as the hatch had been blown off by a stray missile from the war that was happening on the surface. More of them had died on Talrak, but not known how many. So there's roughly about 2,000 of them, 2,500. Now, there are some notable bloodhounds, some special characters that we might say. One of them is a marshal of the Bloodhounds Chapter. A marshal is a rank that is in the Bloodhounds, which is essentially a second sergeant in a squad. They assume the roles of a sergeant if the sergeant is incapacitated or dead or missing. And this marshal's name is Slaith. Now, his specialty is with bolt pistols, and he uses 2 of them. Now, Slaith and a team of Space Marines, who he was the marshal of at the time, were sent to Necromunda by the head librarian Leo, or Leonidas, of the Bloodhounds, to hunt a monster which was terrorizing the people of Necromunda. Now, they didn't know what this monster was, but it was a grave threat that needed to be dealt with. Later they found out that the monster was a bloodthirster of Khorne, which had massacred Slaith's squad, Slaith being the only survivor of the attack. The bloodthirster was eventually defeated by Leo, who dispatched it back to the warp using his force axe. But Slaith remained on Necromunda to watch over the citizens in case the bloodthirster were to return, and has stayed on Necromunda for the last few millennia. Now, the Bloodhounds also have some more sinister characters, which I've not quite made models to or such extended storyline. But there is a Bloodhound character who was trapped on a feral world and attacked by some sort of shadow xeno life form and possessed by this creature, which gave him incredible powers, able to bend through walls or light or any other physical matter, and to appear out of essentially nowhere. And when he went back to his ship, he massacred his whole team and crew, and thus they had to banish him back to the planet and leave him there. Now, there's some characters who are a little bit more sinister than others, and some more good. There's a character called Captain Bataran, who had a history of fighting orcs during the siege on Volstrom, fighting the war boss Malboni. There's the more sinister character of Irie, who is a clone of the cloned Primarch. Now, Arrow has refused to be called Primarch on all accounts, as he sees himself as simply a shadow to the actual Primarchs, or a copy, which he is, I guess, technically. Thus, does not feel that he should be called that, and is just called Arrow. He's also serves as a soldier in the chapter, and not as their proper leader. And so there's this character, Irie, who appears and tells the Bloodhounds that he is the Primarch of their chapter and that he will lead them, to essentially fool them into following him. He also wears much more elaborate and shiny armor than him, to try and fool them into believing he is the Primarch. Eventually, this character is found out by the head librarian Leo, who is one of the only Marines to be able to tell the difference between the two. And he's defeated and killed, and his soul is sent to the warp, and he returns later on as a demon prince, but instead of having a demonic form, he kept his own form, but gained the strength of a demon. Now, one of the main features that he gained, though, when he became a demon, was that he grew large, angelic wings, very much like Sanguinius. He's got angel-like or swan-like wings. He's able to fly. Now, the Bloodhounds don't really have a proper homeworld like many of the other chapters. So they have to travel from place to place. And one of the things that they use to guide them on their missions is a device implanted into their ships, which is called the Holy Sextant. It tells them of their next destination and which place needs them, or where they will find munitions or technology. This is one of the many systems that they have that they don't truly understand the purpose to, and thus they've developed a belief behind it that it tells them the future. When in actuality it has a convenient irony to always bring them to an area where there is a system in danger, or a secret munitions factory led by the manufacturer for them to discover, to get new armor or vehicles or whatever they don't have. Now, I think I'm going to... I don't know which model I'm going to actually paint all the way through. This one looks pretty good because it's got most of its job done, so if that's acceptable to go with one of the Marines that I'm working on, to use that. Or I could use one of the ones from the squad. I think I'm going to use one of the ones from the squad because that feels a bit more right. The camera stopped recording for some reason. So we're supposed to pick just a basic tactical marine. Oh, well, the camera just ran out of data there, so I had to get rid of everything and clear it up. So, where was I? I was checking Facebook. I was just speaking with Alexandra from Girl Painting. At least I think it was her. It was Girl Painting's Facebook page. I will just believe it was that my fantasies have been acknowledged. So I believe I can use this marine. So I will do that. So now I've probably talked about a lot of the different things about them. But let's see, what else can I really speak about? So they have all the different genetics of the different chapters. That means they also carry the same qualities and flaws and the same curses. Inside just their chapter alone, they have the dangers for heresy. It can happen because they have such different points of view that can come up. Different points of view are accepted into the chapter. And because of them having the different genetic histories, they have the chances of the same flaws, but it's a bit suppressed as they have the other ones. So there is the chance that they could fall prey to the blood rage, even though they're not even a blood angel. And if they were checked for which chapter they came from, or whose Primarch their seed came from, it may register as whoever they were looking for to try to confirm, or it might register as all of them. The Bloodhounds are hunted by the Inquisition, because the Inquisition are trying to confirm if the Bloodhounds truly exist or not. As they're a ghost chapter, they're very much like the Lost and the Damned. They're heroes that appear out of nowhere and then disappear just as quickly without a word. Or sometimes they're not the heroes, and they appear to come and kill the people on the planet for doing things that they believe were not up to the standards they should have been. And the Bloodhounds, they did find one organism on Talrak, the planet that they lived on before it was destroyed, that they managed to save and carry on, which was a canine creature very much like a bloodhound. So they called it the Talratian bloodhound and bred them, and now use them, very much like the Space Wolves today use the Fenrisian wolves. And what else could I talk about with the Bloodhounds' history or fluff or background? Maybe because of the things that I'm talking about right now are simply things I've talked about in my previous videos of my Bloodhound history videos, which you can see in the links which I'll put below here and here, and I think there's one here, maybe one even here. I don't know, I think I got 5? Okay, yeah, there's the links. So you can watch all that and try to get all the details in a much more better suiting that I've made for the viewing. So instead, I'll maybe try to talk about some of the new things, the new plans that I have for the Bloodhounds and the creations that I'm making. Now, in one of my last videos, the magnetization video, I talked about a land speeder. Now, I'm going to be creating a new type of land speeder for my Codex Bloodhounds, which will have the Land Speeder Thunder. The Land Speeder Thunder is a very rare sight to see on a battlefield, as it is mainly a space-bearing speeder, because of the armaments that it has on it, being mainly used against vehicles, and the vehicle is very more effective in space, where it can diminish power to its engines and remain moving to use its las weapons, but on a planet it's a bit more difficult. So to remember which side to make the backpack red on. Pretty sure it's red on the right. Now the Bloodhounds didn't originally have this pattern. When their armor was created on Terra, or when it was ready for them on Terra, the Bloodhound's armor originally had black shoulder pads on both sides with a red trim. The helmets were completely black, and the greaves, instead of having the cross pattern that they have now, were both black, with the thigh parts being red. Now, the change to their armor was decided upon by Arrow, the Legion's Primarch, or leader, however you're going to look at it, as he believed that the Legion needed change due to their failure on Terra to save the Emperor, their father. He also changed the chapter's symbol for the same reason. Now, many unique designs have appeared after this change, some of them more different than others. One of the most noticeable differences in armor would be the opposite greaves. Some Bloodhounds will have the opposite colors of their greaves. And if this is either by personal choice or by the armor being handed down to them, and this being the choice of the user before them. And whether this is to symbolize some sort of personal beliefs, I will not disclose. I'll leave you to speculate on that. You can post in the comments below what you believe it to mean. Now, this isn't one of the tactical marines that I'm painting right now. This is a standard bear that I'm working on at the moment. This is a classic metal standard bearer that I bought a while ago. Bought at the same time that I got the Rogue Trader chaplain on the jet bike. You're probably asking me, oh, why aren't you painting that? That'd be really nice. I want to see it Chapel on a jet bike? Come on, Max. Well, I'm saying no. I'm painting tactical marine and standard bear. You can wait for the good stuff. Now I like to get a nice silver onto the top of the backpack here. It's being a bit watery right now, so. You know what? Things are getting kind of quiet, so I think let's throw on some magic. Oop, got a little brush. This is, of course, one of the songs by Kevin MacLeod from Computech.com. I hope I pronounced that right. I didn't mean to mispronounce it. One of his songs can be found to download on his website free of charge, and I believe royalty free. And they're all pretty good, so I recommend going to his site. No, I decided to use a lot of chaos pieces on these guys because I thought that a lot of them just looked cooler, to be honest. They had just interesting rims around these knee parts here. So they would just create a really unique looking tactical marine. Some could say that it'd be like, oh, well, that makes it a veteran marine. It's like, no, it doesn't make it a veteran marine just because he's shiny. Changing my finger. You know what? Let's put on another song. I have a little bit too much silver, so I have to use it on something else. or find it interesting. Facts about bloodhounds. When bloodhounds and space wolves had their first encounter, space wolves immediately had a distaste for them and did not enjoy the scent that they gave off and referred to them as the mutts. Now, if you looked away for a second and wondered why I was being a Terminator instead of a tactical Marine, it's because I had too much silver on my palette. Now, so, this Marine is pretty much finished. I just need to do his lenses, and then fix up mistakes, and then give him his washes. start using. The color is ultramarine blue. I'm not going to need too much, because it's just one nozzle. I always find the lenses to be the most difficult part of painting marines. Alright. And now as I have much more blue than I need, I can do some lensing and some other lines that need it. Normally I'd be a bit more careful and take a bit more time than this, but I'm rushing a bit, using a really crapped up old brush, getting the last bits of life out of it. There's a good case of a lens messing up. That's something I'll have to fix up later. Oh, that looks like crap. There's a classic Rogue Trader Marine that I have no idea what the hell is wrong with this guy. Got this weird visor thing. Really funky looking chainsword. So now that I've got all the main colors onto this marine, it'll be time to do the fix-ups, where I do all the last coats and parts where I fix up areas that things that splotched onto or that weren't painted properly. And I suggest doing that on your other projects. It's that when you're at the end, you check all of your marines to make sure that they're all at the quality that you want them to be at. So we're going to fix up the red shoulder pad, clean up areas where I may have hit it with the silver edging. Make sure I have an even coat and color across the whole shoulder pad. And after all, if you're watching, I would definitely recommend using a better brush. I'm just using this one until it's dyed, which isn't really the greatest method, but when you don't have a lot of money, it's something you have to do. I mean, I have other brushes that are waiting to be used, but I'd rather not subject them to the harms of paint for as long as I can. As long as you keep your brushes in good condition, clean them regularly, use water when you're painting, and even sometimes when your brushes get messed up, if you run them under hot water and there's a little bit of soap in your fingers and you gently rub them to get rid of the paint, and got all the red in there. Go back to these guys. The others. Okay. The last few stages of painting this model. And just to finish the 5 silvers. Then to add my washes, and then that would be it. This is just to get a nice coat in silver in the area where silver is watery. Some of the areas where I forgot to. I'm not going to be adding it to the armor. Just one spot in specific. What I do to make this wash is take lots and lots of water. I don't even know what paint this is anymore. The name is worn off years ago. But water it down. Separate it around. Take the separator. Wash. And then water down too much. Enough now. Too much stuff. There we go. There you have it. And there is a finished Bloodhound Space Marine. I'll be showing some pictures in a minute. But if you enjoyed this video, please press subscribe, or subscribe, wherever it is. Watch my other videos. Leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.